Hello, welcome back, Transformer TCG fans. Okay, been just playing around, of course, solo gaming like normal. Kind of back to the old swing of things for what it's worth. But I was trying a couple of different things. This was nearly a deck of 60 over here. This is a deck of 40, the minimum. This was mainly a mostly very orange deck. With a lot of newer cards of mine. I'm just playing with by myself here. A lot of various cards from Turnabout Snare, Shadow Play. I've got Drone Jets in here, Secret Air Attack, Star Seeker Missiles. Even pincer movement. Now the funny thing is that I didn't have the official, because I've got drone jets in here, but I don't have the other one, multi-mission missiles or whatever it is for helicopters and planes, that where you get 3 on them and get like a really big payoff of non-damage attack when they're all wiped out. Is blue battle cards in general, because if you notice, I broke the barrier of the limited star count. I went with 35 stars. I'm like, okay, I really want to play my Galvatron. I really wanted a Starscream, but I also was wanting to have a helicopter character in here as well. Maybe I should have gone with my homemade Vortex or Blades or something, but I wanted all Decepticons. My Galvatron being a hybrid, he's both, but he's still considered a Decepticon, so I can utilize Swindled in here as well. But this is the wimpy 5-star Starscream here. My Galvatron here is like 17. A 17-star character. Both sides have a nice amount of anyway, here we got Chrome Dome, and this is the head to the boat Parsec. I for a 1-star character, I should not have gone with Parsec. I should have picked somebody else without Ball, because it's mostly a blue deck. It's not going to help this group very much, but at the same time, either they won both times or they won one and they won one. I can't remember which. If I have time, I might pitch another mock game and see what happens. In the meantime, like I said, this deck is very blue. I've got 2 cars in an Optimus truck here. Of course, every Optimus is a truck. And this, it's the Energon version of the Battlefield Legend Prime, which I rarely get to pull out and play around with. He is in a sleeve here, which to try to keep it kind of nice, because it's the only Battlefield Legend Prime I have. I will say that. And I was trying have a lot of different stuff in here, including my Piercing Energon Dagger. So that has a card with Energon in the title. I've got Counterplan. I've got a lot of truck stuff. I've got the Ion Blaster of Optimus Prime, extra padding, 4-wheel drive, shoulder holster, and there's the phase shifter. And that's and there's a Buddy Sneak Attack, my Cargo Gunner, which could have come into play, but I never got it in my hand, because I do have probably too many cards here. Team Building, I think, actually helped me out one time. Ingenuity, not so much. There's only one Scraplets card in here, Point Blank Range. That's another card by Buddy. Just the Nice Blaster didn't get to see any play, but some other stuff did. I got Rock on a Stick. Wow, I was really multi-mission gear, multi-tool, just one of each in here, because we have Chrome Dome and Elita Warrior Specialists. Rock on a Stick. Oh my goodness. When Chrome Dome got KO'd, Parsec came out, and that was, I had Rock on a stick in hand, this in my hand, and this really helps out because normally it would be like a weapon that only gives, +1 to attack. Put on Maximals and Autobots only. Well, he's an Autobot, so it could go on him. When the equipped character has 3 or less health, it gets +2. So this turned into like what's that blank card that's simply just +3 from Wave 1. I forgot the name of it, but you know what I'm talking about. And it turns into that, but it's got a blue pip on it. Which I'm like, wow, this is nice. And Parsec actually got in a pretty good swing into somebody over here and knocked somebody out. I think he knocked Galvatron out. I can't remember. And Galvatron has 25 health. He just didn't have a lot of health left. We'd really been working on knocking him out. So this I'm really just simply talking about blue pip cards and a little about the phase shifter. Because the phase shifter, excuse me, I'll just simply say that the artifacts, I'm played this as an artifact, so I think I finally got it into play. Now I didn't have, like I said, I don't have the right deck here. I didn't have, this is not a deck. These are just extra cards that I was these are all blue cards. Here's another phase shifter. I didn't have destructive counters in here at all, like I needed to. All I had was like, one too many cards. There's Lockpick. I do like Lockpick. Good draw power when you're knocking off a utility to put it on. I did have like a counter plan and something else, and not even doubles or triples of them. So, I mean, this was sort of a sad state of affairs when you're wanting to play a D upgrade and you don't have the destructive counters in here whatsoever to try to help build this up. All I had was counter plan and something else, and it really never came to fruition. And I'm thinking, okay, if I want to make this and give this a quality similar to that of the Master Sword, well, the Master Sword, when you have a weapon on a character previously and it knocks it out and it gets scrapped, you have a really nice ready weapon that has immediate power, immediate oomph, because you had to knock something out to be able to even get it on here. And I think that my artifact idea is not a bad idea. I think it just needs to be tweaked a little bit. And that's what I'm talking about here. Of all the artifacts of the decounter system upgrades, I think the phase shifter is one of the better ones. Star Saber isn't all that bad either. I really like the Star Saber because it, again, already gives you something when you get it on. And it works like the Master Sword or the Ghost Shield. You have to replace something to get it on a character in the battlefield. So there's that. Sorry, I got something else in mind that I might talk about as well if we get to it. Yeah. And these are all blue pip cards. Relentless Pursuit, my zone defense, but which I did have in here, which did come into play. So I was able to get two non-attack damage on Alita 1 or Chrome Dome over here at one point in this game, but this was not the deck I was using. And so, yeah. And what am I trying to get to here? Yeah, there's another Master Sword. Is that it seems like, and I understand this to some extent, that, the blue pip cards don't give immediate. The stronger blue pip cards are more like your action cards, but then they're more when the action cards are going to give something specific, something really good, like four-wheel drive here to give Optimus in his truck mode a base of 7 instead of a base of 6. And that's what your base is. When it mentions base, it just means like whatever the attack is for that character. It does not include weapons, from what I understand, or upgrades. It's just that is the base. When you flip him over, that is his attack base. So Optimus Prime in truck mode, his attack base is 6. Four-wheel drive would make it 7. So there's that for what it's worth. But trying to counter some of this, and we have a lot of non-attack damage cards as well. Leap into battle helps everybody. Four-wheel drive only helps trucks. All my communication cards are loosely based on variations of the electro-optical visor. I'd like to get back to those. But like I was talking about the phase shifter here, you put on the Scoundrel's Blaster. 1, you can get it back on the flip. 2, it gives your Decepticons Pierce 2 and Attack of 2. Why would I want the phase shifter if I'm going to have to work at it to even get any tough? Low battery. Sorry. When I'm going to have to build up my tough using other cards in my deck just to be able to get tough on it. So I think what we're going to need to do with some of these artifacts, and just like Energon Mace, Energon Axe, Scoundrel's Blaster, etc., they're somewhat idiomatic to certain traits, to certain characters, damaged characters. If it's attacking a certain faction. I did, something similar with Hot Rod's dual bow here, where it's also going to give +2 to attack, kind of like the Energon Mace. It's also blue, but it's not an artifact, but decounters are going to add bold up to bold 3 on this. When it's on Hot Rod, it gives him just Pierce 1. So that, the Pierce is like secondary. But it's not even an artifact, and you can still get it in play, work up the bold. So should I go back to square one with my artifacts like the Phase Shifter or Star Saber, considering that I can't get them into play unless they're having to swap a previous upgrade out on them, etc. But if the Phase Shifter had at least some defense on here, a defense of 2 even, or defense of 1, attack of 1 on the Phase Shifter, that might make this a little more worth it. Would you want this in your hand, while having to end up having 3 destructive counters and maybe 2 counter plans, which would give you 5 more blue pip cards in your deck? But that's, again, you have, maybe a Phase Shifter or 2 plus about a total of 5 cards of these. That's 7 cards out of, if you're only going to have a deck of 40. So that's almost a fourth of your deck right there. And so that's not even looking at some of the artifacts, etc. Some of the other gimmicks like this, like Hot Rod's dual bow, which deals with decounters. So while the Phase Shifter is nice, because once you get it filled up to 4 and get tough 4, your opponent's Pierce is reduced to 0. And then you have to scrap it, which is fine. So once you can, get the counters up to get tough 4, you're also nixing their Pierce, which is a nice ability. I like that. That part works. But I think if you really want to try to play the phase shifter in a casual game, I'm gonna might need to make some changes to make it worth it. So you're not just going, well, I don't have a destructive counter. I haven't seen a counter plan in my hand. I don't have one of these. Of course, this is before I added it where when you play one, you can play another. But if I was playing with anybody, I would still play it like that because that is the final version of this card, even though it doesn't say it on here. But that's how I reworked the destructive counters. Like a lot of the other white and green pip cards, attack drone, etc. Play one, you can play another. So that way you can go boom, 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 work up 3 counters on your phase shifter, and you can still get tough 3 and not have to scrap it. You get one more with counter plan. You can get it filled out. You can reduce their pierce to 0, which is still nice. But getting it into play and getting something out of it is sort of like, well, what's the use if I can't get something immediate off of this? Of course, I think just simply having a defense of 1 would even help the phase shifter at this point. So yeah, this was printed before I came up with the artifact idea, and it's like, I like this. Maybe this is too strong. Let's copy the Master Sword and the Ghost Shield and give it a name, artifacts. And and I filled in this little space here and did that, which was really cool. So there's that. In the meantime, where'd he go? It's not the stratagem, which I do like the stratagem. Everybody gets hit by him by using the 1-star Kremzeek stratagem. But Kremzeek is a 1-star utility that gives +1 to attack, is white and blue. Only your leaders are going to get the blue for flip. Like Galvatron here or Optimus Prime. And this is mine. It's not Buddy's. Buddy has one. We use the same images. And I want to say somebody else used this same artwork too. But Kremzeek, before this battles, do 2 damage to an enemy character equipped with an upgrade with Energon in its title. So that's why I kind of kept these guys out over here. Energon Mace, Energon Axe, Energon Slingshot. And I've made even more. The Energon, is it Lasso or Energon Whip? All sorts of playing around with Energon types of upgrades. And if someone has one of these on them and you have Kremzeek, you're going to be able to get some really nice non-attack damage before you battle. If you call this Starscream as your defender, he only has 5 health left. He has on, I don't know, he's melee, so he can get the Energon Slingshot ability to, if a player put that on him, and then you have Kremzeek on Chrome Dome over here in before battle, attack or defense. 2 on Starscream, he's out. Battle doesn't happen. So that's pretty much how this works. Very simple. I feel like he needed a little something, so he does have +1 for attack. And because the attack and doing 2 damage to an enemy, despite how specific that is. And so it may have been somebody on Facebook that suggested that, thinking, oh gosh, that's just too powerful. We need a star. So I did give him a star. I don't think it's that powerful, really. That's just me, because we have so much other things like the particle cannon of Galvatron here from Arc Wave 1. Galvatron only, +2 to attack, bold 1. And you can even get this on the flip. So how easy can you get that in your hand and get that in play? Which is about the same as Scoundrel's Blaster, really. I don't want to get this mixed in with the deck I had made, but just a lot of neat ideas that that I've tried, that other people have tried. There's my scraplets, assault formations from the Arc. We got die Autobots. That looks like Energon Hustlers. That's right, Energon Hustlers. Your good old regular armed hovercraft, which is still a good card to this day. Leap into battle. The bigger they are. This is kind of a weak card, despite how everybody online was like, "Oh gosh, you need a star. It's got too much. It's got 2 blues on here." I'm like, no, it's got 1, and 1 for boats, and we have very few boat characters. And even then, you can only add the base defense to the equipped characters. Add it to the equipped characters' total attack. Unless I change this and make it your defender's total defense, add it to your equipped character's total attack. That might be different. Then I might take off 1 of the blues, but even then you can get it on the flip for what it's worth. Neat drawing. So, and people go on and on about some of my untap abilities. I mean, what about start your engines? Heck, you're playing with good old cars 3 or 4 wide. They're all in bot mode. You play start your engines. You can flip every single one of them and then untap 1. I mean, goodness. I mean, have we banned this? Possibly. I'm not sure. There's Rat in a Trap, extra paddings. There's my More for Me. And even people complain about trying to think my zone defense was too strong. And I'm thinking, how are my cards too strong? Because you have some of these cards here that are much stronger than mine. It's damage at 2 damage, non-attack damage here, but it has to be a car, or just some people wanted to come out in defense of their car decks. Oh, zone defense, I don't like it. Well, yeah, that's the point. It's trying to help fight against car decks. I'm trying to make some sort of balance here, in a sense. Oh yeah, is that blue? What is that? No, it's black and green. Okay, that's right. But just wanted to really talk and sort of compare some of these cards to some extent. And Buddy had a real good thing going on here with Pierce. He always complained about Pierce, but he was making Pierce cards, that's for sure, with blue and black decks, blue and black action. Choose character, Pierce 2. Point blank range, blue and black. Upgrade weapon and +2 for attack, and Pierce 2. That's not too dissimilar from, well, it's a little weaker than the Energon Axe, but that can only be on damaged characters only. It's not too dissimilar from Scoundrel's Blaster here, only except you can't get point blank range, which is an unusual name for an actual weapon. Sounds more like an action, but there's the regenerative core. But you can't get it on the flip. It has no green here like a Scoundrel's Blaster does, but it has pretty much the same effect. But you can put this on anybody. You can put his point blank range on anybody, unlike the Scoundrel's Blaster here, which is Decepticons only. So just a lot of neat things, and it all seems to make a sense. So, what say you? Going back to, well, where'd it go? Where'd my phase shifters go? They were right here. The phase shifters. I think they're fine, but I do think they need something other than, once you finally get them in play, it's useless until you get counters on them. And the decounter system is fine, but you definitely would need 3 of these to destructive counters to really get the use out of them. Maybe a counter plan or 2, which can get you 3 of them on there. So, oh, here they are. Here they are. This is where I put them. Where did these come from? I think they came from over there. Okay, so I mean, what do you think? I think I need to tweak these a little bit. I really don't want to change the phase shifter, because if I change anything in the MSC, I got to go back in and redo the which it shouldn't be hard to do. I can go back to an image, take it off, and put it back on there. So that's not too much of a problem, really. I complain about it, and it really isn't that bad. It just takes a little time. So yeah, I just might add some defense. 2 defense sounds nice, or maybe 1 and 1. But then the item itself wasn't really doing attacking. It was the character was able to walk through walls. So that's my idea. That was my idea initially for the game, is getting this charged up to be able. Has my head been in the way this whole time? To get it charged up to be able to get rid of your opponent's Pierce for a turn and then scrap it. And at the same time, building up tough up to tough 4, which is nice. Or should I go ahead and give it tough 1 and defense 1? But then I'd want to change this to a minimum of 3 D counters instead of 4. Because if the counters give it tough, it starts with tough 1 and defensive 1. That's an idea. Even then, it's still not as strong as say the Master Sword, which is also another blue upgrade. Which does not need action cards to get anything on it to give it the +4. And people were complaining about the grenade launcher 2 years plus ago, and maybe that's all Wizards needed to do was go back and make a grenade launcher, word it like Master Sword, where it can only come into play by replacing a previous weapon, and that it already had to be scrapped once you used it. But that's probably what they were going here with the Master Sword. Even though the grenade launcher, I believe, is an orange pip and not a blue pip. So, but there's that. So I've rambled long enough for oh my gosh, almost 30 minutes. So just really wanted to chew the fat and get this talked out a good bit, and give you an idea, especially if you're new to the game and you are playing with in a casual setting with just friends or your family at home or at a card store or wherever, and you're not in any sort of kind of tournament or anything, and you want to put this stuff together and say, ooh, how does this work? Ooh, maybe I want 45 cards in my deck instead of 40. Or maybe 43 might be a good number. 46, 45, somewhere in there. To where you're not, have a huge chunk of Pokemon deck in your hand, but you got a little more diversity than just 40 cards. Not exactly a 52 card pickup, but So, what do y'all think? What do y'all think? I really need to go back and update Ancient Scraplet Scimitar, I guess. Whirlwind Slash I think I took off the green pip on this one. I'm pretty sure I did. And if I ever did play this with somebody, I would not use the green pip. I would not get it on the flip. Because that's just the Whirlwind Slash. That's a good card. I like how I did that one. There's Buddy's Dark Matrix, Energon, Hustlers, Die Autobots. So a lot of neat stuff here that seems to work well. Shell Shock now has a star on it. So yeah, let me just shut up and let y'all have a better day. Or I could just sit here and use my whole lunch hour talking about the Transformer, the TCG, just because I just find it so technically satisfying. It's just really neat making cards for this and trying to test them and see what works. And you know, through my process, you know, like I said 1,000 times, I'm not the ARC. I'm not ATP. I don't have Dan, Vin, Scott's knowledge or anything that effect, or even Brian and all of them, and Joe or Blues on Attack or whatnot. But this seems to work, and I'm still. I mean, how long have we've been doing this? Since 2019 through YouTube. I'm still learning stuff and still learning to, hey, let's do this. Let's do this. Let's tighten this. So I may go back to the phase shifter and fix that. I still don't think Kremzeek needs a star, but some people did, and so I gave it. Here, golly, Matrix Scourge, looky there. It says action. It's a utility. It's a utility, not an action card. So thanks for watching. Thanks for just putting up with me and listening to me ramble for 30 minutes. We'll see you next time. If you like somewhat of this learning process, and today's was just nothing but looking at blue pip cards and a lot of the newer stuff, a lot of my own stuff. We went through just touched on a lot of different things as well. A little bit of the function of the blue pip cards in a way, because they're not your stronger cards. They do give a lot of attack. They do give a lot of attack specifically. It's a good source of non-attack damage as well, from armed hovercraft to even my zone defense, etc., whatever. Four-wheel drive, my cargo trailer, my cargo gunners, and that's where even our handheld blasters come from, and leap into battles. So things to look at, things to consider, things to change. So we'll see you next time. Didn't mean to ramble this long. And as always, throw some scraplets at that like button if you like what you see here. If I rambled too long, you probably long gone now. We'll see you next time. As always, Autobots, flip out and let's roll.